Morning! Big day on the Moose. We are going to start breaking ground. In fact, I think I hear the excavator coming in the distance. So we have our lines. This is the house. I have a 3-foot and a 4-foot line marked as well. He's going to want to dig at least 3 feet. So there you have it. Everything's marked out, ready to go. I'm going to go talk to the truck driver. When the operator visited the property first a couple of weeks ago, we both evaluated the site and determined that from the highest point on the ground to the lowest point on the ground is about 3 to 4 feet from one side of the building to the other. Based on that assumption, he started digging in the northwest corner. Well, soon we realized that it was going to be deeper than that. In the end, there's nearly a 5-foot difference in elevation in the ground from one side of the building to the other. So we had to go to Plan B. Plan B was to dig the foundation a little bit shallower, but move more dirt around to the lower spots of the house. We had to be sure that we didn't bury the house too deep on the high end, yet we wanted to make sure we had enough cover for the low end. We need 24 inches of cover from the bottom of the footing. Once we established the depth we were looking for, we set up the transit level. Here I'm operating the grade rod. You can hear a beep in the distance. Once that beep becomes faster and even solid, that is the grade we are looking for. The operator can hear the beep and he can see the rod, so he knows whether to remove material or not. Once he gets enough material out of the way, then I'll take the rake and I'll roughly smooth out the portion where the footing will be. And this process just continues around the perimeter of the house. So I think I'll be quiet now and let you enjoy the sights and sounds of digging out a foundation. And just like that, ground has been broken. Check it out. We're gonna have one step down in the northwest corner of this house, right there, where it's gonna step down. Then we're gonna have another one over on the other side of the master bedroom. So I just finished up watering this down. I got everything nice and wet because the wind was gusting and this powder was just blowing away. Unfortunately, I have to take off for the coast for 3 or 4 nights and I gotta let this sit. But when I come back, there's some detail work that I wanna do with the Kubota. Level some spots off, move a little bit of dirt here and there. And of course, I'll have to relay out the house and the lines and get close anyway. Then I can start raking the bed, raking the bottom of my footings. So you just stay seated. I'll probably just show a pretty picture or two and I'll be back and it'll be 4 days later and you'll never even know, except for the fact that I told you. And I might have a different shirt on or something. Morning. Does that look right? I think this will be just fine. This 2x4 here represents the top of a concrete pad, most likely that we're going to put in between the posts and the front porch leading up to the front door. So I'm just checking my elevations here. So if I have a footing that is 8 inches thick plus a 24-inch stem wall on top of that is 32 inches. So 32 inches is right here. I have about a foot of material till I get up to my floor height. I have 10-inch floor joists, give or take, plus a 3-inch sill plate. So it's going to be about 13 inches, I guess. So 13 inches from 32 is 45. Will put me about right here. And that is about 5 inches higher than that concrete. So I believe this is okay right now. Right now, this is angled ever so slightly, about a 1/4 of an inch a foot, maybe not quite, just to let that moisture run off away from the house. I'm gonna try to nudge this whole house south about 6 inches because we ran into mountain. Even with moving this whole house over 6 inches, a couple of these rocks, or a little bit of these rocks, are gonna be sticking up into the form. So I'm gonna go dig up my diagonals, my measurements, to make sure this house is square. Start with that nail right there and relay out this house. After that, I'll get behind the rake and get some work done. Okay, I have my perimeter established. It's probably within an inch. And this is not the final measurement and the final string line before the forms go in. This is basically just so I know where to rake. Speaking of, where's my rake? Oh, there it is. The width of this rake happens to be 16 inches, which is the width of most of the footings. There's a couple spots where this footing has to be 18 inches. But this is a good gauge. All I'm really trying to accomplish right now is getting an area, a bed that's a few inches wider than the footing itself, and just getting it free of big rubble. I'm not even trying to zero in on elevation right this second. I'm just trying to clear a path so we can work. You're probably wondering about the trailer. Yes, remember that white cargo trailer I had? Here's a story. I decided to pull that back to the coast. I really don't have a use for it in the next few years, and it's just gonna sit there behind the woodshed. So rather than that, and rather than pay delivery fees for almost everything around here, I sold that white cargo trailer. So I pulled it to the coast, and that is where the story is. I got about 2 hours from here, and the fender fell off of the cargo trailer. So I had to walk back on the highway and pick up the fender. And once I got it to the coast, of course, I had to straighten it all out and reattach it and whatnot. Long story short, I sold that. I bought this. I'm already putting it to use. I have 46 of 20-foot long rebar that I picked up yesterday on my way back. I have some old forming lumber, which didn't cost me a penny, and I'll get to that later, I'm sure. And for those trailer types that might be interested, this is a 7x18, 7 feet wide, 18 feet long, with 10,000 pound rating. So that should be plenty to haul my tractor around and everything I need. So I've been using that old-fashioned laser level I showed you when I'm building the lean-to. I've been using that, shooting roughly these lines. So the east line and the north line right now are fairly level. So they're within an inch probably from any point. But this one inside corner right here where the stake is, that is about 8 inches lower. But I have a couple mounds of dirt, might be able to see throughout this interior here. So I'm gonna take my tractor and just spread out some of these mounds and push it down to this low spot right here. And then I'll be just about good to go for this upper level. And then I'm gonna eat because I'm starving. Are you hungry yet? Okay, I have that area built up over there. I had to bring in about 6 inches of dirt. And because this is so fluffy, I watered everything down, drove over it with a tractor, watered it down, and repeated that process about 3 times, just to make sure that's nice and solid under the footing over there. So I have a black mark right there in the bottom of that stake. So that's the ground level. So I'm just going to shovel some dirt in there and kind of repeat that process where I get it wet, tamp it down. Just want to make sure the base is nice and solid. I know I told you I wasn't really worried about elevation too much today, and I'm not. I'm within about an inch probably all the way around so far. So once I get this process finished, there's a local contractor here that I've gotten to know, and he's going to bring up his laser equipment that's a lot better than what I have, and he's going to help me fine tune it and really lay out these forms tomorrow. Then we can start setting forms. Okay, let me bring you up to speed. The perimeter of this is laid out within an inch, probably 2 inches at the most. Even elevation, I would say within 2 inches from top to bottom. I could be wrong. So there's kind of a mound right there, and there's an interior footing right here, and there's one right here. This footing is what I call an island. It isn't attached to the perimeter footing. This one is attached, and this one right here is attached as well. And if you remember from a previous episode, we have to put those elbow bars in wherever these interior footings meet the perimeter footings. So those 3 spots are to grade. My perimeter is almost to grade, again, within a couple inches. If you see my lines, there's one shooting back this way, and there's one shooting back this way. That's where the beams are gonna be, and the posts and the boxes that I made for the bases of the post. This perimeter footing right here is going to continue into the interior 2.5 feet. The same thing is gonna happen over here, 2.5 feet from this corner into where I'm standing. So this is the very last thing I have to do as far as digging out the perimeter or really any part of the footing. So this little bump out right there, there's a ledge. So I gotta take out, I don't know, 50 shovels full of dirt. So once I have that finished up, then everything will be set to go and ready to be finely detailed by the laser experts. Hopefully you'll get a chance to meet them. As I mentioned, he's a local contractor and he has the right laser equipment, better than I have, I'm sure. He's gonna set me up and lay this thing out to the 1/1000th of an inch. He doesn't know it yet. So let's dig this out right here, and that'll be about it for this groundbreaking episode. See what I did there? Okay, let's get back to work and finish this part up. Okay, the hole is dug. I'm about as far as I can go right now. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Life on the Moose. I appreciate that. Come back next week. We'll probably be working on this thing. We'll not only have this thing detailed and laid out, but hopefully have some form boards down. This is exciting. So until then, you take care of yourself. And as they always say, keep your nose clean and your hands dirty. Well, I think they say that.